Captain Lee Juno pulled his fighter jet through another sharp turn, as red warning lights flashed across his control panel. The space around New Sol Colony was usually quiet, but today felt different. His radar showed nothing dangerous, yet something made him uneasy. "Control, this is Eagle 7. All clear in Sector 4. Juno spoke into his headset. His voice was calm, the way it always was during patrol flights. After 8 years protecting the colony, he knew these routes by heart. "Copy that, Eagle 7. Head back to base when you finish the sweep," came the reply from flight control. Juno was about to turn toward home when his ship shook violently. Alarm screamed as his engine sputtered. Through the front window he saw chunks of rock and metal flying past his ship. A field of space debris had appeared from nowhere, probably pieces from an old cargo ship that had broken apart. "Control, Eagle 7 is in trouble. Engine damage from debris field. I'm losing power fast." His ship spun out of control. Juno fought with the controls, trying to keep the fighter steady, but it was no use. The engine died completely. In the distance he could see a small moon with a thin atmosphere. It was his only chance. Eagle 7 going down. Emergency landing on moon surface. Send rescue when possible. The fighter crashed hard into the rocky ground. Juno's head hit the side panel and everything went black. When he woke up, someone was pulling him from the wreckage. His vision was blurry, but he could see a tall figure in strange armor. As his eyes focused, Juno realized this was not a human. The being had silver skin that seemed to glow softly in the moonlight. It was taller than any human, with long limbs and elegant features. Most shocking were the blue markings that ran along its arms and face, pulsing with a gentle light. "You are awake," the being said in perfect human language, though with an accent Juno had never heard. "Your ship is badly damaged. You need medical attention." Juno tried to stand but felt dizzy. "Who are you? What are you?" "I am Kira Veltar of the Althan Empire. You are Captain Lee Juno of the Human Defense Corps, according to your identification." She helped him walk toward a sleek silver ship nearby. "We should not be talking, but I cannot leave you to die." Juno's training told him to be careful. The Althan Empire had been fighting humans for 3 years. Every soldier knew they were dangerous enemies who attacked human colonies without warning. "But this one had saved his life. Why help me?" he asked as they reached her ship. Kira looked at him with large, dark eyes. "Because leaving someone to die in the cold of space is not the way of a true warrior." Inside her ship, everything was smooth and curved, very different from the sharp angles of human designs. The walls glowed with the same blue light as Kira's markings. She led him to a small medical bay and began checking his injuries. "You have a head wound and some broken ribs, but nothing that will kill you," she said, running a strange device over his body. "My ship can repair yours, but it will take time." "How long?" Juno asked. Kira looked out a window at the dark sky. "A storm is coming. Lightning and electromagnetic waves that will last several hours. We cannot work on your ship until it passes." As if to prove her point, bright flashes began lighting up the sky outside. The ship shook as thunder rolled across the moon's surface. "Great," Juno muttered. "Stuck on an alien moon with an enemy soldier during a storm?" "I am not your enemy right now," Kira said quietly. "Right now I am someone keeping you alive." For the next few hours they waited for the storm to pass. At first they sat in silence, each watching the other carefully. But as time went on they began to talk. "Your people think we attack for no reason," Kira said as she prepared some food that looked and smelled surprisingly good. "But you do not know the real truth." "What truth?" Juno asked, accepting the food. He was hungry, and it tasted better than anything from the colony mess hall. "Our home world is dying. The sun grows cold and our people freeze. We need new planets to live on. But every world we find, humans have already claimed. So you attack our colonies. Some of my people do, yes. But others believe there must be a better way. A way to share space instead of fighting for it." Juno studied her face. Everything he had been taught said the Althan were brutal killers who showed no mercy. But Kira seemed different. She was careful and thoughtful, and she had saved his life when she could have left him to die. "What do you believe?" he asked. "I believe warriors should protect the weak, not kill them. I believe honor comes from helping others, not destroying them. That is why I rescued you." The storm grew stronger outside. Lightning struck the ground near the ship and the metal walls rang like a bell. Kira moved closer to Juno as they waited. "Are you afraid?" she asked. "Of the storm?" "No." "Of what happens when this is over?" "Yes. Why?" Because when my people find out I was with you, they will think I am a traitor. When your people find out you saved me, they will think the same about you. Kira nodded slowly. Perhaps they will. But tonight we are just two people keeping each other safe from the storm. As the hours passed, they shared stories. Juno told her about growing up on Earth and dreaming of flying among the stars. Kira spoke of her training as a warrior and her love for her dying world. Despite being from different species, they found they had much in common. When the storm finally ended, neither wanted to leave the ship. Something had changed between them during those long hours. They had stopped seeing each other as enemies and started seeing each other as simply two souls who had found comfort in a dangerous universe. "Your ship is ready," Kira said as the first light of the distant sun appeared. "You can go home now." But as Juno stood to leave, he turned back to her. Without thinking about what it meant or what would happen next, he reached out and touched her hand. Her silver skin was warm and the blue markings seemed to glow brighter at his touch. "Thank you," he said, "for everything. Thank you for showing me that not all humans are what I was taught to believe." Neither of them moved for a long moment. Then, as if pulled by forces beyond their control, they moved closer together. What happened next would change both their lives forever. 8 months had passed since that night on the moon, and Juno's life had changed completely. The military court had found him guilty of unauthorized contact with an enemy alien. They took away his captain rank and moved him to a desk job at New Sol Colony. Instead of flying among the stars, he now spent his days looking at computer screens and filing reports. Every morning, Juno woke up thinking about Kira. He wondered if she was safe, if her people had punished her too, and if she ever thought about their time together. The memory of her silver skin and glowing blue markings stayed with him during the long, boring days at his new job. "Another quiet day in paradise," said Kim Do-yoon, the young officer who worked at the desk next to Juno. "At least nothing exciting happens in colony defense coordination." Juno was about to agree when his communication device started beeping loudly. The message was marked urgent and came from the medical center. "This is Dr. Park Mina at New Sol Medical. We have a diplomatic emergency. I need you here immediately." Juno frowned. Why would the medical center need someone from colony defense, and why him specifically? "On my way, doctor," he replied. The medical center was only a 10-minute walk from his office, but Juno found himself running. Something about the doctor's voice had sounded worried, almost scared. When he arrived, Dr. Park was waiting for him at the entrance. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but today she looked very nervous. "Thank you for coming so quickly," she said, leading him through the hallways. "We have a situation that requires someone with your experience." "What kind of situation?" Dr. Park stopped outside a private room. "Someone arrived this morning requesting asylum. Someone you know." She opened the door and Juno's heart stopped. Kira sat on the medical bed wearing simple human clothes instead of her warrior armor. But what shocked him most was that she was clearly pregnant. Her belly was large and round and she looked tired and weak. "Hello, Juno," Kira said softly when she saw him. "I hope you do not mind that I came here." Juno could not speak for several seconds. His mind was racing with questions and emotions. Finally, he managed to say, "Kira, why are you here?" "Because I had nowhere else to go," she replied. "And because this child needs a safe place to be born." Dr. Park closed the door behind them and activated a privacy shield. "She arrived in a small stealth ship early this morning. Our sensors barely detected her. She asked specifically for you." Juno moved closer to Kira, still trying to understand what was happening. "The baby. Is it yours?" Kira finished. "Ours. A child of both our peoples." The room seemed to spin around Juno. He sat down hard in a chair, trying to process this information. "But how is that possible? Our species are different. More similar than anyone thought," Dr. Park said. "I have been running tests all morning. The genetic compatibility is remarkable, though there are complications." "What kind of complications?" Juno asked, fear creeping into his voice. "The pregnancy is very dangerous for Kira," the doctor explained. "Her body is not designed to carry a hybrid child. The baby is growing faster and stronger than a normal Althan infant. Without proper medical care, both mother and child could die." Kira reached out and took Juno's hand. Her touch was still warm and her markings still glowed softly. "I did not come here to trap you or cause problems. I came because I had no choice. My people want to kill the child. They say it is an abomination that will weaken our species. And my people? Juno asked, though he already knew the answer. We'll want to study both of us, Kira said, to learn how to make weapons from our child's mixed blood. Dr. Park nodded grimly. I have not reported her arrival yet, but I cannot hide her much longer. The medical staff knows she is here, and word will spread quickly. Juno stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the peaceful streets of New Sol Colony. People went about their daily lives, not knowing that everything might be about to change. A hybrid child could mean peace between the species, or it could start an even bigger war. How long until the baby comes? He asked. 2 months, maybe 3, Dr. Park replied. But with the complications, it could be sooner. And you are sure it is mine? Kira's voice was quiet but firm. There has been no one else, Juno. Only you. He turned back to face her. Even tired and pregnant, she was still the most beautiful being he had ever seen. But now she also looked scared, something he had never seen before. What do you want from me? He asked. Protection for our child. A chance for her to live and grow up safe. Her? The child is female. I can sense it through our connection. Kira placed her hand on her belly. She will be strong like her parents, but she will need both our peoples to accept her. Juno sat back down and took Kira's hand again. I lost my rank and my career because of what happened between us. My commander thinks I am a traitor. Half the colony does not trust me anymore. I know, and I am sorry. My clan exiled me when they learned about the baby. I can never go home again. Then we are both outcasts. Yes. But we have each other, and we have our daughter. Dr. Park cleared her throat. I hate to interrupt, but we need to make decisions quickly. I can hide Kira here for maybe a day or two, but after that, people will start asking questions. Juno thought about his options. He could report Kira's arrival to his superiors and let the military handle everything. That would be the safe choice, the one that might get him back in good standing. But it would also mean never seeing her or their child again, or he could help her escape. Find somewhere they could hide until the baby was born. It would make him a real traitor this time, but it might be their only chance at a future together. There is something else you should know, Kira said. I was not the only one exiled. There are others from my clan who believe in peace between our peoples. They sent me here as a secret message, hoping our child could be the first step toward ending this war. A peace treaty written in DNA, Dr. Park said thoughtfully. A child who belongs to both species equally. If she survives, Kira added quietly. Juno squeezed her hand tighter. She will survive. We will make sure of it. Just then, alarms started going off throughout the medical center. Dr. Park checked her communication device and went pale. What is it? Juno asked. Long-range sensors have detected incoming ships, both human and Elthan vessels heading straight for the colony. Kira struggled to stand up. They have found me already. Both our peoples are coming. How much time do we have? Juno asked. 6 hours, maybe 8. Dr. Park replied. Juno helped Kira back onto the bed. Then we need to move fast. Doctor, is there anywhere in the colony where we can hide? There are old mining tunnels under the Eastern District. They are not well mapped and sensors have trouble working down there. Can you move her safely? If we are very careful, yes. Kira looked up at Juno with her dark eyes. Are you sure about this? Once you help me, there will be no going back. Juno thought about his old life, his military career, his comfortable place in human society. Then he thought about the child growing inside Kira, a daughter who might bridge 2 worlds or be destroyed by both. I am sure, he said. Let us go save our daughter. The old mining tunnels beneath New Sol Colony were dark and cold. Water dripped from the rocky ceiling, and the air smelled of rust and ancient machinery. Dr. Park led the way with a small flashlight, while Juno helped Kira walk slowly through the narrow passages. How much further? Kira asked, breathing heavily. The pregnancy made even simple walking difficult for her. Just around this corner, Dr. Park replied. There is an old equipment storage room that should be safe. They had been moving through the tunnels for 2 hours, trying to stay ahead of the search teams that were now flooding the colony above. Through the tunnel walls, they could hear the rumble of ships landing and soldiers marching through the streets. The storage room was small but dry, with old mining equipment covered in dust sheets. Dr. Park set up a portable medical scanner while Juno made a bed for Kira using some of the cloth covers. The baby's heartbeat is still strong, Dr. Park said after checking Kira with her scanner. But your stress levels are very high. You need to rest. I cannot rest while they hunt for us, Kira said, but she lay down anyway. The blue markings on her skin were glowing brighter than usual, which Dr. Park had explained was a sign of pain or stress. Juno sat beside her and took her hand. We are safe here for now. The tunnels are like a maze. It will take them time to search all of them. You do not understand, Kira said. Althan warriors are very good at tracking. They will find us eventually. As if to prove her point, they heard voices echoing through the tunnels nearby. The voices were speaking in the Althan language, which sounded like music mixed with wind. They are already close, Kira whispered. Dr. Park turned off her flashlight and activated a small device that would block their heat signatures from scanners. They sat in complete darkness, listening to the alien voices getting closer. Juno reached for his sidearm, but Kira caught his wrist. If you shoot at them, more will come. We need to be smarter than that. The voices passed by their hiding spot and continued down the tunnel. Everyone let out a quiet breath of relief. This is not going to work for long, Dr. Park said. They are searching systematically. Soon they will check every room. What about the human soldiers? Juno asked. They are working with the Althan forces, Dr. Park replied grimly. I heard the radio chatter before we came down here. Both sides want to find you, and they are willing to work together to do it. Kira struggled to sit up. There is something I must tell you both. Something about why this child is so important. What do you mean? Juno asked. The neural patterns of hybrid children are different from both humans and Althans. They can connect with both species mentally. If our daughter survives, she could allow our peoples to truly understand each other for the first time. Dr. Park leaned forward. You mean telepathic communication? More than that. She could share emotions, memories, thoughts. She could show humans what Althans really feel, and show Althans that humans are not monsters. No wonder both sides want her, Juno said. She could end the war, or she could be turned into a weapon. They heard footsteps in the tunnel again, but this time the voices were speaking human language. Juno recognized one of the voices and felt his heart sink. That is Commander Cho Wubin, he whispered. My old commanding officer? The one who trained you? Kira asked. Yes, he was like a father to me before everything changed. The footsteps stopped right outside their door. Juno, came Commander Cho's voice. I know you are in there. We need to talk. Juno looked at Kira and Dr. Park. They both nodded. There was no point in hiding anymore. Come in, Commander, Juno called out. The door opened and Commander Cho entered, followed by 2 human soldiers. The commander was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes, but today he looked tired and worried. Hello, Juno, he said. Dr. Park, and you must be Kira Veltar. Kira tried to stand, but the commander waved her to stay seated. Please do not get up. I can see you are not well. Have you come to arrest us? Juno asked. That depends on what you tell me in the next few minutes, Commander Cho replied. He sat down on an old crate and looked around the room. This is quite a mess you have gotten yourself into. I know how it looks, Guy, do you? Because from where I sit, it looks like my best former pilot has gone completely insane, helping an enemy alien hide in our colony, while she carries what might be the most dangerous child in the galaxy. She is not our enemy, Juno said firmly, and our daughter is not dangerous. Your daughter? Commander Cho raised an eyebrow. So the reports are true, Dr. Park spoke up. Commander, I have been studying the pregnancy. This child could be the key to peace between our species. Or the key to our destruction, the commander replied. The Althan death squads upstairs are not here to talk peace. They want to kill the mother and child both. And what do the human forces want? Kira asked quietly. Commander Cho looked at her with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Officially, to turn you over to our scientists for study. Unofficially, some of our leaders think your child could be bred to create an army of hybrid super soldiers. Over my dead body, Juno said. That might be exactly what happens, the commander warned. There are forces on both sides who will kill anyone who gets in their way. Suddenly, they heard the sound of energy weapons firing in the tunnels nearby. Shouts echoed through the passages, some in human language and some in Althan. What is happening? Dr. Park asked. Commander Cho checked his communication device. The Althan death squad just ran into our Black Ops team. They are fighting each other instead of looking for you, but it will not last long. We need to get out of here, Juno said, helping Kira to her feet. Where can we go? She asked. They will find us anywhere on the colony. Not anywhere, Commander Cho said thoughtfully. There is one place they might not look. Where? My personal ship. It is in the military hangar, supposedly being repaired. If we can get you there without being seen, you could leave the colony. Why would you help us? Juno asked suspiciously. Commander Cho stood up and looked at Kira. Because 30 years ago I lost my own daughter in this war. She was a pilot like you used to be, Juno. Shot down by Althan fighters over the Kepler system. He paused, but looking at you both now, I realized that maybe she died fighting people who were not so different from us after all. The sounds of fighting in the tunnels were getting louder. Energy blasts lit up the passages with bright flashes of light. We need to move now, Commander Cho said, before both sides remember why they came here. Dr. Park gathered her medical supplies while Juno helped Kira walk toward the door. As they prepared to leave their hiding place, Kira suddenly grabbed Juno's arm. The baby, she gasped. Something is wrong. Dr. Park quickly scanned Kira with her medical device. The stress and activity have triggered early labor. The baby is coming. How long do we have? Commander Cho asked. Maybe an hour, maybe less. The commander activated his communication device. This is Cho to all units. We have a medical emergency in Section 7. I need all search teams to fall back and secure the area. Will that work? Juno asked. For a little while. But when they realize what I am doing, we will all be in serious trouble. As they helped Kira through the tunnels toward the surface, the sound of fighting continued behind them. Neither the human forces nor the Althan death squads knew that their target was slipping away. Protected by an old soldier who had decided that some things were more important than following orders. Whatever happens, Kira said between painful breaths. Promise me you will protect our daughter. I promise, Juno replied. We both promise. But as they reached the tunnel exit and saw the chaos of the colony above, with ships circling overhead and soldiers fighting in the streets, Juno wondered if any promise would be enough to keep their family safe. Commander Cho's ship was hidden in an old maintenance hangar on the far side of New Sol Colony. Getting there meant crossing 3 kilometers of open ground while both human and Althan forces searched every building. Kira could barely walk now, and her labor pains were getting stronger every few minutes. There, Commander Cho pointed to a small building ahead. My ship is inside, Dr. Park. How is she doing? Dr. Park checked her scanner again. Not good. The baby is coming very fast now. We have maybe 20 minutes before she delivers, ready or not. Juno carried Kira the last 100 meters to the hangar. Her blue markings were now pulsing rapidly, and she gripped his hand so tightly it hurt. Hold on, he whispered. We are almost there. Inside the hangar, Commander Cho's ship looked old but well-maintained. It was a small transport vessel with a basic medical bay. Dr. Park immediately began setting up equipment while the men helped Kira onto the medical table. The baby's position is wrong, Dr. Park said after another scan. This is going to be very difficult. Can you save them both? Juno asked. I will do everything I can. Outside, they could hear ships flying overhead and the sound of soldiers running past the hangar. The search was getting closer, but they had no choice but to stay and help Kira deliver the baby. Juno, Kira gasped between contractions. If something happens to me, promise you will take care of our daughter. Nothing is going to happen to you, he said firmly. We are going to get through this together. Dr. Park worked quickly, using both human and alien medical techniques she had learned from studying Kira over the past day. The baby is very strong, she said. Stronger than any human infant should be. Commander Cho stood guard at the hangar door, watching for any sign of the search teams. How much longer? He called. Soon, Dr. Park replied. Very soon, Kira cried out as another strong contraction hit her. The blue markings on her skin were now glowing so brightly they lit up the entire medical bay. She is coming, Kira said. I can feel her. Push, Dr. Park instructed. The baby is almost here. With a final cry from Kira, the baby was born. But instead of the loud wailing that human babies usually make, there was only silence. Dr. Park held the tiny infant, who had pale silver skin like her mother, but dark hair like her father. Is she okay? Juno asked, his voice full of fear. The baby suddenly opened her eyes, which were a beautiful mixture of human brown and Althan silver. She looked around the room with an intelligence that seemed far too advanced for a newborn. Then she made a soft sound, almost like singing. She is perfect, Dr. Park whispered. Look at her markings. The baby had faint blue lines on her arms and face, just like her mother, but they were different. Instead of pulsing with one rhythm, they seemed to change and shift like they were responding to everything around her. Her neural activity is incredible, Dr. Park said, checking her scanner. I have never seen patterns like this. Kira held out her arms and Dr. Park placed the baby on her chest. The moment mother and child touched, something amazing happened. Kira's blue markings began to sync with the baby's and the pain and exhaustion on her face started to fade. The baby is healing her, Dr. Park said in amazement. Somehow the child's unique biology is helping repair the damage from the birth. Juno reached out and gently touched his daughter's tiny hand. Her markings immediately responded, glowing brighter and creating new patterns. What should we call her? Hana, Kira said softly. It means flower in your language and hope in mine. Hana, Juno repeated. It is perfect, Commander Cho suddenly called from the door. We have company. 3 vehicles heading this way, fast. Human or Althan? Dr. Park asked. Both. They are working together now. Juno looked at his newborn daughter and felt a fierce, protective instinct he had never experienced before. We need to get out of here. Kira cannot travel yet, Dr. Park said. The birth was too difficult. Yes, I can, Kira said, slowly sitting up. The baby, Hana. She is giving me strength. It was true. The more time Hana spent in contact with her mother, the stronger Kira seemed to become. The hybrid child was somehow sharing her unusual life force with both parents. That is impossible, Dr. Park muttered, but she could see it happening with her own eyes. Commander Cho started the ship's engines. We need to leave now. I can get us to the outer system, but after that, you are on your own. As the ship lifted off, they could see the vehicles arriving at the hangar below. Soldiers from both species poured out and surrounded the building, only to find it empty. Where can we go? Juno asked as they flew away from New Sol Colony. There is a neutral trading station at the edge of this system, Commander Cho said. Ships from many different species stop there. You might be able to find passage to somewhere safe. Baby Hana lay quietly in her mother's arms, but her eyes were constantly moving, watching everything around her. When Dr. Park came close to check on her, the baby reached out and touched the doctor's hand. Suddenly, Dr. Park gasped. What happened? Kira asked. I felt something. Like she was trying to communicate with me, not with words but with feelings and images. She is very young for telepathic contact, Kira said. Most Althan children do not develop that ability until they are several years old. She is not fully Althan, Juno pointed out. Maybe human genetics change how her abilities develop. Over the next few hours as they traveled toward the trading station, they began to understand just how special Hana was. When she was calm, everyone in the room felt peaceful. When she was hungry or uncomfortable, they all felt her distress. She was already creating a mental connection with everyone around her. This is what the war has been missing, Commander Cho said as he felt the baby's calming influence, a way for different species to truly understand each other. But their peaceful moment was interrupted by alarms from the ship's sensors. 3 ships approaching fast, Commander Cho announced. 2 human fighters and 1 Althan interceptor. They found us, Juno said. Through the ship's windows they could see the pursuing vessels getting closer. The human fighters were sleek and fast, while the Althan ship moved with an elegant grace that was beautiful and deadly. They are not going to let us reach the trading station, Commander Cho said. Kira struggled to stand, still holding baby Hana. I need to contact the Althan ship. Maybe I can convince them to stop, and maybe they will just shoot us down faster, Juno said. We have to try. Kira activated the communication system and spoke in the musical Althan language. The reply came back quickly, harsh and angry. They say I am a traitor and the child is an abomination. They will destroy us all rather than let Hana live. The human fighters were also sending messages, demanding that Commander Cho surrender the fugitives immediately. So much for peaceful negotiation, Commander Cho said. Hold on, everyone. We are going to have to fight our way out. As enemy fire began to light up the space around them, baby Hana started to cry for the first time, but her cry was unlike anything they had ever heard. It was not just sound, but pure emotion that seemed to reach out across space itself. On the pursuing ships, something unexpected happened. The pilots stopped firing and began talking to each other across species lines for the first time in years. Hana's telepathic abilities had reached them, showing them her innocence and the love her parents felt for her. The ships are backing off, Commander Cho said in amazement. They are just stopping. Through the communication system, they heard voices from both human and Althan pilots, speaking to each other in broken mixtures of both languages. Hana had given them the ability to understand each other, at least for a few precious moments. She did it, Kira whispered, looking down at her daughter. She showed them what we could be. But the moment could not last. Other ships were coming, piloted by people who were too far away to feel Hana's influence. The hunt would continue, but now they knew their daughter had the power to change hearts and minds. As they reached the trading station, Juno held his wife and child close. Whatever happens next, we face it as a family. Together, Kira agreed. Baby Hana looked up at both her parents with her strange, beautiful eyes and made her soft singing sound again. In that sound, they heard the promise of a better future for all the peoples of the galaxy. 6 months had passed since Hana's birth, and the small family had built a new life on Sanctuary Station, a hidden asteroid base deep in neutral space. What started as a place for them to hide had grown into something much more important. Other mixed families had found them, humans and Althans who had fallen in love despite the war, and their hybrid children who possessed the same amazing abilities as Hana. Juno watched his daughter play with 3 other hybrid children in the station's central garden. At only 6 months old, Hana could already walk and speak simple words in both human and Althan languages. Her telepathic abilities had grown stronger every day, and she could now communicate complex feelings and ideas without speaking at all. She is teaching the others, Kira said, joining Juno by the garden's viewing window. Watch how she shows them to control their abilities. It was true. Hana was somehow helping the other hybrid children learn to use their telepathic powers safely. When one of them got scared or angry, she would touch their hand and calm them down. When they could not understand something, she would share her knowledge directly into their minds. Dr. Park thinks she might be the key to everything, Juno said, not just ending the war, but preventing future wars between any species. Dr. Park had stayed with them on Sanctuary Station, studying the hybrid children and documenting their abilities. Her research showed that these children could potentially communicate with any intelligent species they met, not just humans and Althans. The question is whether the galaxy is ready for that kind of change, Kira replied. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by Commander Cho's voice over the station's communication system. All residents to the command center immediately. We have incoming ships. Juno and Kira quickly gathered Hana and the other children, bringing them to the heavily shielded command center in the station's core. Through the main viewing screen, they could see dozens of ships approaching from all directions. Both human and Althan fleets, Commander Cho reported. They have found us. How many? Juno asked, holding Hana close. 50 ships from each side. This is not just a raid. This is a full military operation to destroy us. The other families on the station gathered around, their faces filled with fear. There were now 23 hybrid children on Sanctuary Station, ranging in age from Hana at 6 months to the oldest at 3 years. All of them had been born to parents who believed in peace between the species. We cannot fight that many ships, said Park Sun-ho, a former human soldier whose wife was Althan. Our defenses are not strong enough. Maybe we do not need to fight, Kira said thoughtfully. Maybe we need to talk. They did not come here to talk, Commander Cho said grimly. Intelligence reports say both governments have decided that hybrid children are too dangerous to exist. They want to end this contamination of their species. Hana looked up at her parents with her strange, beautiful eyes. Even at 6 months old, she seemed to understand what was happening. She made her soft singing sound, and immediately all the other hybrid children joined in. The sound was unlike anything the adults had ever heard. It was not just music, but pure emotion made into sound. As the children sang together, their telepathic abilities combined and grew stronger. Something is happening, Dr. Park said, checking her scanners. The children's mental signals are reaching across space. They are trying to contact the incoming ships. On the viewing screen, they could see the enemy fleet slowing down as they approached the station. Ships that had been flying in attack formation were now drifting closer together, as if their pilots were talking to each other. Impossible, Commander Cho muttered. Human and Althan ships never fly that close together. Through the communication system, they began to hear voices from the approaching fleets. But something was wrong, or rather something was very right. Human pilots were speaking Althan words, and Althan warriors were using human phrases. The children's telepathic song was allowing the two species to understand each other directly. "This is Captain Lee Minho of the Human Defense Corps," came a voice over the communication system. I am receiving thoughts and feelings from the Althan ships." "Is this real?" "This is War Leader Vex Thanos of the Althan Empire," came another voice speaking broken human language. "I feel sadness from the human ships. They do not want to fight any more than we do." Hana and the other children continued their telepathic song, but now something new was happening. Through their combined abilities, the adults on Sanctuary Station could also sense what the children were showing the fleets. Images and emotions flowed through everyone's minds. Not words, but pure understanding. They saw the truth about the war, hidden from both species for years. A third alien race, the Vexhi, had been secretly manipulating both humans and Althans, feeding off the psychic energy created by their conflict. "The Vexhi," Kira whispered, recognizing the parasitic creatures from ancient Althan legends. "They are real." Through the telepathic connection, everyone could see how the Vexhi had influenced both governments, making small disagreements grow into hatred and war. They fed on negative emotions like fear and anger, growing stronger as the conflict continued. "They have been controlling us," came Captain Lee Minho's voice, now filled with horror and understanding. "Both our species for years. The real enemy is not each other," said War Leader Vex Thanos. "It is the shadow creatures who feast on our pain." On the viewing screen, the human and Althan fleets were now flying in mixed formations, their ships side by side for the first time in years. But their unity had attracted attention from the real enemy. Dark shapes began appearing at the edge of the solar system, dozens of Vexhi vessels that looked like living shadows with burning red cores. They had been hiding nearby, feeding off the conflict they expected to happen at Sanctuary Station. "Here they come," Commander Cho said. "The puppet masters who have been pulling our strings. How do we fight them?" Juno asked. "Together," Hana said clearly, speaking her first complete sentence. Though she was only 6 months old, her voice carried the wisdom of her unique heritage and telepathic abilities. The hybrid children's song changed, becoming something new, a call to battle, but not a battle fought with weapons. They were showing both fleets how to resist the Vexhi's mental influence and fight as one people instead of two. "All ships, this is Sanctuary Station," Commander Cho broadcast. "We are transmitting tactical data that the children have assembled. The Vexhi are vulnerable to coordinated attacks when they cannot feed off negative emotions. The battle that followed was unlike any in galactic history. Human and Althan ships fought side by side, their crews sharing thoughts and strategies through the telepathic network the hybrid children had created. When Vexhi mind control tried to turn them against each other, the children's influence helped them resist. The fighting was fierce, but the Vexhi could not win against united forces. Their power came from division and hatred, and they grew weak when faced with cooperation and understanding. As the last Vexhi ship was destroyed, the two fleets turned toward Sanctuary Station. But instead of weapons, they came bearing messages of peace. "This is the beginning," Captain Lee Minho announced, "not just of peace between our species, but of a new age for the galaxy." 5 years later, Juno and Kira stood on the observation deck of Unity Colony, watching their daughter play with dozens of children from many different species. Hana had grown into a bright, curious 5-year-old who could speak 12 languages and communicate telepathically with any intelligent being she met. "She wants to explore beyond the Milky Way," Kira said, watching Hana point excitedly at the stars. "She says she can sense other civilizations out there waiting to meet us. Are you ready for that?" Juno asked. "I think the question is whether the universe is ready for her," Kira replied with a smile. Hana looked up at her parents and grinned, her blue markings glowing softly with happiness. "When will we meet the others, Dad?" she asked in perfect universal standard. Juno knelt down beside his daughter and pointed at the distant stars. "Soon, Hana, very soon." The galaxy had changed forever because of one night between an alien warrior and a human pilot. Their love had created not just a child, but a bridge between worlds and the promise of peace among the stars. The age of humanity standing alone was over. The age of unity had begun.